All right, so this is going to be a pretty quick one. We're just going to talk real quick about the return of Brawl Thor, because that is a playstyle that you'll have a lot more survivability in now because of the change that they just made today. There was a change that they just made to Awakening Rune where it gives you an automatic refund of 1 Thorforce. Now, that's what we thought was going to happen when they first announced the Awakening cancel, because one of the early videos that leaked actually showed it giving back 1 Thorforce. It didn't, but now it does. So a lot of the stuff that we were working on at the time is now going to be the way that it actually works. So currently, before this patch today, what we used to do to kind of try to like recreate a Brawl playstyle was just to do 2 back-to-back Awakening Runes through use of Hammer Throw and Lightning Realm, because that would give you enough Thorforce between the 2 of those and the cancel that you can do on the end of a Awakening Rune that allows your hammer to hit simultaneously with the last rune to give you back 1 Thorforce, where you would end up with 3. You could cycle into another one, and then you kind of dip. So you end up with plus 300 bonus health over the course of 2 Awakening Runes. This change is going to give you closer to plus 600, maybe plus 675, depending on your timing, because you can throw a surge in there too, to try to gap out the time frame between when your hammer throws back up for the 4th one. So let me show you what I mean by that. So you have to understand how the rune cancel that gives you back a free hammer works for this to work. So I have another video. It's an earlier video I think I put up like last month or something that talks about the double cancel. And what I mean by that is when you start an Awakening Rune, if you're holding M1 while you do it, then you're doing a burst of 115 at the start, like that, okay? Give me 1 sec. Let me kill him real quick. So when you do the hammer and the rune at the same time, you're doing a burst of 115 because it's a 45 from your hammer and then a 70 from the first rune. So it goes like that, okay? When you are canceling your Awakening Rune, you're doing the same thing. So if you're holding your M1 through the whole rune, then when you hit your F again, or whatever your cancel button is on your controller, it should do a swing and a rune at the same time at the end. Now, the reason that that's good for regenerating Thorforce is because when you use Awakening Rune or any ability that costs Thorforce, which is only 2 of them now, your Surge and your Rune, it turns your hammer blue. And while your hammer is blue, if you hit someone with it, you get 1 Thorforce back automatically as a refund. So, like, see here, my hammer is blue. If I go hit him with this, I will get 1 Thorforce immediately back, right? Same thing happens here. I get 1 back. Okay? Now, that's 1 that you can already count on, but now you're getting 1 just for canceling it no matter what as a flat refund. So the good thing about that is if we do the same double cancel that we were doing before, or if you weren't doing it before, then you should start, you'll actually end up with 2 right off the cancel. So like that. Then you go straight into your hammer throw and you go right back into it again. He died, so I can't really show you. I'll do it again. So that was 2 cycles, and then your 3rd cycle is going to be with Lightning Realm. So just quickly, it's going to be like that. And in that time frame, you've gotten 450. Now you've got 600. That's 75, so 675. And that's how you're going to enable your Brawl playstyle. Because you've got so much Thorforce now that you can constantly churn these plus 150s. And it's going to be really good for staying in front lines and having these extended fights on other tanks or tankier DPS. So cycle is going to be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then let's say he didn't die there. You can bridge that gap with a surge because your hammer throw isn't quite back up yet, but if you do the surge, then it'll put your hammer back in blue. Then when your hammer's back in blue, you're going to get a free refund off the hammer hit anyway. Your hammer throw will be back up. That'll give you your 3rd. So let me kind of show you what I mean by that. So we'll just do this as a 2 cycle. So there I've got it, but now my hammer throw is on cooldown, right? If I do this and then bridge that time before it's back up by doing the surge, then basically you're killing that last 1 or 2 seconds that you need to get your hammer throw back off of cooldown. That's all. And you won't always need to do it because either they'll be dead or there won't be anybody to hit. But let's say there were 2 tanks there or whatever, it would be a lot easier to show. Unfortunately, he's got the highest health pool, so it's, you know, the most I can show you. But yeah, just cycling in and out of these, you'll be able to get 4 pretty easily. And let's say he was still alive, I would get 1 more back from that. Your hammer throws back up. Or in that gap, if you wanted to generate 75, you could surge him, get it. Surge, you're going to instantly get refunded off your first hammer hit after the surge. So it's like a net 0 cost, right? So you're still at 3, even though you just spent 1, because you instantly get it back off your hammer. Then your hammer throws back up, so you just do that, and then go straight back into this. So it's pretty straightforward. And again, like over the course of a entire protracted fight, that's plus 600 to plus 675 that you're getting in bonus health, which is double your entire health pool. So if you are taking hits during that, then you'll definitely notice the survivability. Now, where the skill expression and sort of micromanagement stuff is going to come into play is knowing when you should cancel or when you need to cancel, or like let's say I do that, but they haven't hit me at all yet. I haven't taken any damage. Well, if I haven't taken any damage and I'm still at 750, then I don't necessarily need to pop right back into Rune yet. I can stay out of it until I need the plus 150 again. Now I'm dipping again, so now I go back into it and pop it back up into full whatever. I start dipping again, I go, okay, well I want 75 back from that. And then I pop back into this, and I got plus 150 again. If you're in a frontline brawl, you're going to be kind of constantly taking damage, so it's not something that you're going to have to like super micromanage. But there are times where it definitely will make sense to kind of wait out starting your next cycle because you haven't lost any of the 150 yet. Because you can cancel way before it even starts disintegrating, right? If I do this and I'm not taking any damage, now I've kind of wasted the plus 150 that I had because I was never missing the 150. So there will be a little bit of micromanagement of your bonus health because it is capped at the 150. So every time you do it, you're going to be at the cap for your bonus health. Now, keeping that cap constantly up is the goal, but you don't want to cap on, like, you don't want to do it if you're already at cap. There's no point. So that's when you'll go into sort of longer cycles with it, where it makes more sense to do something like this. Okay. And then you go back into it once you realize you're taking more damage. From a raw, like, doing the most damage point of view, the more 115s you can get in, the better. So that's when you might just want a quick cycle regardless of how much damage you're taking, because doing this, that's so much damage right off the bat, and then you go right back into it. So the more 115s you get, and you can get a 115 at the start and a 115 at the end, it just makes sense more to do multiple cycles of that. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're not already familiar with the mechanics of Thor and his hammer and all that stuff, this might be going over your head a little bit. That's fine. Just go watch the old video about the double cancel. It'll make more sense. But yeah, that's this is going to be the ideal way, I think, to churn your health in melee range and in brawls. So, or you can always just do that. But you can tell that it does 300 because you can just instant clear the Punisher with that. I fucked it up. So there is a trick to it too, where you might not, if you mistime the first bit of it there, you don't always get the 115 on the start. That time I did it. So there's some timing that goes into it too, but you have to go watch the double cancel video to understand that. I've gotten pretty consistent with it, but you don't even have to do that either. Like you can always just do like a raw. You don't have to do the whatever to still get the benefit of the bonus health, which is what's enabling your brawl more than the damage itself. This is just for optimizing damage at the same time. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, whatever. You can ask questions in the comments, I guess, but I probably won't be able to explain it more clearly than that. That isn't just based on you not having an understanding of Thor's mechanics in general. I think if you understand how Awakening Rune and hammers and his blue and his Thorforce and all that should all work, then this should make perfect sense to you. So So yeah, pretty consistent 4. And that's over double what you're able to get now in his current setup or his previous setup before this change. So you should definitely notice some more survivability as long as you're managing your Thorforce and your bonus health correctly. So welcome back, Brawl Thor, I guess.